I'm Melissa Gonda, and this is The Great Debate. And these are the debaters.
I'm Austin.
I'm Kylie.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Emma.
I'm Carissa.
I'm Zainab.
Olivia.
As Whitby School states, schools view standardized tests as another way to reflect on their curriculum. Teachers revolve what they teach around these tests so to prepare their students. My teachers in high school were always teaching us material that might be on these tests, so that we were prepared. Standardized tests set the standard for all schools across the U.S. Also, standardized tests allow teachers to see what subjects students need improvement in, and they serve as motivation for their students. In contrast to that, though, according to National Teachers Association today, 70% of educators say state assessments are not developmentally appropriate. For education criteria, everyone who has gone through school has taken a form of standardized tests. As a student, I have taken multiple forms, such as the Ohio Achievement Test, the PARCC test, the AIR test, and the AIR test. Standardized tests don't allow accurate representation of a student's intelligence and abilities. Also, the tests don't measure the skills that students should be learning at, and they hinder students with IEPs.
Like said before, I'm Austin, and I'm for standardized testing because we need it. Standardized testing sets the standard for all schools across the United States. It provides a guideline and curriculum that the schools must follow. This curriculum makes it so all kids generally learn the same thing. If the school does their job, which they do, then the kids are given equal opportunity. Standardized testing helps universities get a good predictor of academic success based on these tests. Wayne Camara, who is the Vice President of Development and Research, says the standardized testing are great for universities to examine a potential student. Wayne then goes on to say thousands of studies and intense analysis of the SAT reveal that it has helped reliably predict college success when the SAT scores are compared to college freshmen' grade point average.
Well, I disagree with this because standardized tests don't measure the skills that students should actually be learning. According to Robert Stake, research shows that it's a mistake to design a revolution in American schools around a national testing program. Standardized tests are mundane. The tests are multiple choice and they allow no room for the student to express themselves. Instead, portfolios and projects where students can actually see their progress should be used for measuring their achievement. Tests do not allow for critical thinking, problem solving, or creativity. Students are unable to exemplify these skills, and these are skills that will be used throughout their entire life and in any profession they decide to go into. Aside from that, every school in the United States does not have equal access to resources that help to teach these skills that these standardized tests are trying to measure.
Well, another reason why standardized testing is positive is because it allows teachers to see what subjects the students need improvement in the most. Teachers need to always be able to teach as best as possible. This accurately helps them do that by identifying problems in individual students. It can also detect larger issues, like the issues with curriculums and schools. Furthermore, it makes everything much easier in a practical way for teachers and students. It can prevent subjective grading and bias grading from the thought process that goes behind it. Locke Alamar once said, and among the parents I hope would benefit from the feedback provided by testing, the message has been hopelessly muddled.
I have to disagree. Again, I'm Emma, and I'm against standardized testing. Standardized testing does not allow accurate representation of a student's intelligence and their abilities. The test has caused negative experiences for students showing their accurate intelligence and abilities. Test anxiety has gone up because of these standardized testing, not allowing students to show what they really know and what they can do. The more a test is made to count, the more anxiety rises and the less valid the scores actually become. The same test is also distributed to every student in every school and does not provide objectivity. Every school does not have the same resources for the test, for their students and preparing them. Alfie Kohn, who wrote the book, The Case Against Standardized Testing, Raising the Scores, Ruining the Schools, says, efficient tests tend to drive out less efficient tests, leaving many important abilities untested and untaught.
However, standardized testing also serves as motivation for students. Tests challenge students to be academically proficient by staying in competition with these peers. The Common Core State Standard reflects in English and math what young Americans need to know if they want to compare to countries such as China, Singapore, Finland, and South Korea. This makes it harder to easily succeed, so the extra effort improves grade and overall test scores. Also, setting goals pushes people to do better. Reinforcement of these personal goals in classrooms can be set by having to create an environment with positive attitude towards standardized testing. This can be implemented by regular time tests to make it more familiar and comfortable with each individual student. A researcher named Rita Platt, a nationally certified teacher, suggests that encouraging students to set these goals can assist academic achievement and also student engagement. Standardized testing may be the first form of competition and goal setting that has exposed students that can propel them in their success later on in life.
The most students who are struggling with the standardized test are the disabled students who need special education because they receive different education methods and tests in separate classrooms. The disabled students don't get their special needs during the test, which lead them to fail the test. The disabled students need more time during their tests as they have many difficulties, and because the standardized test mostly has a limited time, so they will face an obstacle during the exam period. The standardized test materials are irrelevant with what they learn in their classrooms, and not only this, but also they need more instructions to be able to pass the exam. According to Penn State University, special education students in the United States make up 13% of public school enrollment. And one of the reasons of the low enrollment percentage is failing the standardized test. The standardized test pushes the special education students to over-reliance on their scores. And according to the Fair Test Organization, when students with disabilities are subject to high-stakes decisions based on standardized test results, they are at a higher risk of negative consequences.
While more can be said about the benefits of standardized testing, today we hope to share with you how standardized testing sets the standards for schools all across the United States, how standardized testing allows teachers to see what subjects students need improvement in, and how standardized testing has become a form of motivation for students. It seems that in today's age, many people have varying opinions about standardized testing. It is important to understand that this testing can be a representative of a student's ability and, more importantly, their want to succeed. Aaron Churchill, an Ohio research director, said, "We need hard, objective information on school student performance. And the best available evidence comes from standardized tests. These tests not only lay the brickwork for where a student will start, but where they will go." Not only are there pros to standardized testing, but there are also many downsides to standardized testing. Today we hope to share with you how standardized testing does not actually measure skills students are learning in the classroom, does not accurately represent a student's intelligence or academic ability, and fails to accommodate adequately for those students who go through special education. There are many controversies concerning standardized testing. It is important to remember that students should not be defined by a single score, but should be defined by how hard they work and their love for learning. I will leave you with a quote. First Lady Michelle Obama once said, "If my future were determined just by my performance on a standardized test, I would not be here today. I guarantee you that." Even one of our country's greatest women in history can't even be defined by a test score.